What is up, everyone? Welcome back. So today I'm in my room with no one. My guinea pigs are in their cages, and you can tell by the title, we are going to be reacting to some scary stories. So I looked at these scary stories to make sure they're not appropriate. So if you're young and you don't like scary stuff, don't watch it because I do have some pretty scary ones, I would say. And I guess we'll get straight into the video. Face cam will be on so you can see my reaction. But let's go. I forgot to say one thing. Viewer discretion is advised. They have a couple cuss words and it's scary, so younger people, if you don't like scary stuff, don't watch. But that's it. It has like maybe a couple cuss words. So if you guys aren't into that, you can skip and just like the video and let's get back into the video. Alright guys, so we're here. I don't know if the camera's really laggy because I can't move fast. But let's get straight into the video. This is Scary Field Trip Horror Stories, as you can tell. And let's go.
Back in high school, I took a mysteries and mythology type class, or something like that. I don't remember the name of the class. It basically just had to do with real life mysteries and creepy shit. I was into that kind of stuff. I was taking the class with a good friend, who I'll call Ben for this story. The teacher of the class took us on a field trip to a nearby abandoned village with an unknown past. The village was built in the early 1900s, but seems as though it had been quickly abandoned shortly after it was built.
I don't like abandoning things.
The bus ride there was about 20 minutes. All of us were glued to the bus windows as we pulled up some sketchy-looking, decrepit road cutting through dense forest. The road eventually led to a clearing. We were there. We stepped out onto the road, which had grass growing through the cracks. The grass surrounding was almost knee-high. Then there were the buildings. The tall, archaic brick buildings with the boarded-up windows all gave off such chilling vibes. The teacher lined all 20 of us up, counted heads, and then began leading the way. The point of this little field trip was to use the so-called...
I gotta fix my blanket. One sec, guys. Alright, there we go.
...skills we learned in class to see if we could put anything together about why the village may have been abandoned so long ago. Some of the buildings had holes in the walls to serve as entryways. There were even holes in the ground next to some of the buildings, seemingly dug to get into the basements of some of the buildings, which seemed creepy.
No, don't go in the
basements.
basement.
There was one building, though. It stood taller than any of the others. It just intrigued me the most. While the teacher was leading the group towards the village church, Ben and I decided to sneak off on our own to look for anything interesting.
No.
When we walked off in the direction of the tallest building, we saw a hole in the ground. It was dug by the back door of the building, which had been sealed off. In the hole was a ladder, which led down to the concrete floor
I don't like
below.
being underground. I'm claustrophobic.
We both looked at each other and knew we had to do it. Ben climbed down first, then me. Luckily, this was just around the time Apple started putting flashlights on their phones, so we had a source of light. It was creepy down there. There were a couple of beer bottles, one graffiti tag on the wall, and dusty wooden planks everywhere. There was a wooden stairway which led up to complete darkness, since all windows and doors had been sealed shut from above. We had already gone as far as to enter the building, so we figured we'd go up the stairs too. I went first, and with each step, the creakiness of the 100-year-old wood made me feel as if I was going to fall through each and every
Stop!
step.
No, go back to your teacher
Ben
and tell him.
followed suit.
Yeah, do the good thing.
This floor of the building was very tight. It seemed like there were many openings going off into different, smaller rooms. It was so dark in there, you would never even guess it was daytime. Ben and I were honestly starting to get creeped out in there, and agreed to go back outside. But just then, there was a noise in one of the tiny rooms. Like
probably
a
a
big
hobo
rock hitting the concrete floor.
Hobo be living in that house.
A normal instinct would be to run, but Ben and I froze, locked eyes for a moment, then both tiptoed over to the opening of the room. We shined the lights into the room, and ran. We ran back down the stairs.
Alright guys, so, if this was me, I'd be out there I'll be out there when I see the graffiti mark. I'll be like, oh no, I'm not doing this. I'm not doing this. Probably just a hobo though. But I forgot to say it, but Llama Arts made the 2 videos we're gonna start off with. Go check them out. They're pretty good. They animate horror stories from Mr. Nightmare. And so we better get that out of here.
And then up the rusty ladder back outside. We caught up to the group out of breath. We didn't say anything, though, to avoid getting in trouble. One of our classmates asked us what was wrong. We told him we snuck into one of the buildings. And in one of the rooms, when we shined the light into it, we saw 3 guys standing maybe 10 feet away from the doorway, facing
Whoa.
Ben and I in a weird formation.
No.
As if they were waiting for us.
You better go tell your mama, get
As
home
we
and hide
continued
under your
following the
bed.
group, we paid extra attention to the tall building we entered from the distance. And before leaving, we saw a person's face at one of the higher level windows that had not been boarded up. We never told the teacher in fear of getting in trouble. We didn't know what to think. Were those just homeless people living in there? Were they gang members in hiding? Ben freaks me out with his theory. He says they were ghosts of the people who once lived in the town. Still, the way the 3 guys were just hauntingly standing there so calmly, staring at us the moment we peeked our heads through that doorway, I still can't get that image out of my head. I may go back to that village one day, just to prove Ben's idea wrong.
Hell no! No.
New Colgate Optic White Renewal.
Dumbass.
Removes 10 years of yellow stain.
Alright guys, so it might have sounded like I said the H word, like the cuss word. I did not say, I meant to say heck no, but it came out wrong. So don't worry about that. And, alright, so next one is Trick or Treat. But for real, the last one, I would never go back to that abandoned building, ever. I wouldn't even go in it. I'd stick with the group and probably hide under a bed when I get home. I'd be like, no, there's monsters under the bed though. Alright, let's start this again.
It was Halloween night of 2007, freshman year in high school, and I was with my friends, Ivan, Ryan, and Jesse. We were all dressed as the Super Mario characters. I was Luigi since I was the second tallest. Ivan was Mario since he's short and buff. Not that Mario was buff. Jesse was Waluigi because he's freakishly tall and skinny, and Ryan was Wario because he's just really fat. So they were the perfect group costumes for us. We live in a very non-congested suburban neighborhood with a decent amount of space in between houses. On Halloween, that's the worst thing ever. Less bang for your buck. We were trick-or-treating for hours, way past dark, and eventually came the time when most trick-or-treaters were heading home. My feet started to hurt, and I had to constantly switch arms for holding the now 10-pound pillow sack of candy, but we planned on going until our bags were completely full. A lot of the houses by now weren't answering anymore. It was probably past their cutoff time for giving candy to trick-or-treaters. Approaching our next house, we saw a purple bucket on the stoop, which was the best feeling ever. I was the one to get close enough to realize it was empty,
the window!
which was the worst feeling ever.
Wait. Look in
Approaching
the
our
window.
next
I'll
house,
pause
we
it.
saw a purple bucket on the stoop, which was...
Look, okay. I wish I had a tap thing, but in the top right-hand window, not the top but like the one above the squarish, like this pattern
the best
window.
feeling ever.
There's the guy looking out.
I was the one to get close enough to realize it was empty, which was the worst feeling ever. I turned around when I heard a knock at the window of the house.
People
We
knocking
all
the
looked
window,
at
you
the
go
window.
home. You don't.
Couldn't see anyone, but heard someone call out, "Wait." The door opened, and an older man, late 40s, already balding, stepped outside. He told us to come inside so he can get us some more
Don't
candy.
go in.
I said we could just wait out here. He responded saying something along the lines of, "Nonsense, come on in, we'll get you your candy." Ivan stepped in and said,
Wait, you guys saw
"It's
the
all
eye.
right.
The eyes
Come on,
behind
Dan,
him.
let's go." I told the guy to take care and apologized. He just stood there watching as we walked
Look,
off,
behind him.
not saying anything. I felt bad, but at the same time, that guy seemed like a creeper, and I figured I just dodged a bullet not going in there. If the story ended there, it wouldn't be scary, so of course, it didn't end there. We skipped a few of the guy's neighboring houses just to get further away and continued on with our business. We were walking down close to the nature preserve now,
Mothman.
so there weren't many houses around
That's
us.
not that scary.
At this point, we were now walking back closer to Jesse's house. I noticed Ryan had stopped walking, and I turned around to see what's up. He said he heard someone moving from behind the trees in the preserve.
It's Mothman.
Now, this was before everyone's phones had flashlights, so we couldn't just go searching in the woods for someone. Besides, we were just telling Ryan that it must have been a raccoon or something. You may think this is a bit of a cliche, but when things like this happen in real life, you always assume the more logical possibility. It's just natural. Why would we assume we were being followed? I had to put my arm around
that
Ryan's
old
shoulder and
creepy
nudge
man?
him forward. A little ways down the street, me and Ivan picked up on the sound as well. When we all stopped, the sounds of the footsteps from beyond the trees stopped as well. Ivan yelled at the obvious stalker to go away, or we would beat the shit out of them. I knew he was just bluffing, though. I could hear the nervousness in his voice. The snap of a twig from beyond the trees triggered a fight-or-flight response in all of us. Me, Jesse, and Ryan all ran for it. Ivan was at first charging to attack, but he quickly followed after realizing we had all taken off. We ran down the dark street, and we all noticed the sounds of at least 2 or 3 pairs of footsteps crushing the twigs and leaves in the woods.
Maybe
We banked
your
it
friend?
hard right down Jesse Street when it finally came up, and ran straight for his backyard, entering his house through the back door. The first thing we did was peek out through his living room window. We couldn't see anyone. We all had to gather our thoughts and discuss what the hell just went down in his living room, when all of a sudden we heard Jesse's backyard gate slam shut. Jesse dove to turn off the lights. There was a click and a bang from down in the den.
No.
It was more than likely Jesse's back door. We all agreed to go down armed with knives and face them. Jesse turned on his back door light, but there was nobody out there. Just then the front door opened, and we all screamed like animals. Jesse's mom and sisters came rushing downstairs. They had just gotten home from their friend's little house party. We all rested assured knowing it was just them. Jesse explained what happened, but made it seem a lot less dramatic. Me and Ivan went home after that and called it a night. At 12:30 a.m., I got a disturbing text message. It was from Jesse. It said, "It wasn't my mom." I texted back saying, "What?" He responded back quickly, saying, "It wasn't my mom in the backyard."
Oh no.
My fingers slammed the buttons on my phone, responding back, "What do you mean?" There was a long pause before he finally told me that his mom and sisters said they never went in the backyard. I told him to immediately check the backyard from his upper deck. He had already done just that. He also told his mom everything, and she had already called the police. They
Good.
didn't find anyone back there, but Jesse did mention the guy who invited us in while trick-or-treating. Nothing ever became of that, and nothing ever happened at Jesse's house again after that one Halloween night.
Whoa! What? Alright, so that one was pretty scary. Let's move on to the next one.
Never have
Alright, so this is a dumb ad, so I'll be back after the ad. So, we're on the next one. If you look at the top, it says, have you heard of the Hakashukiya? So, I don't know how to pronounce it, but it's, basically the Slender Woman, Slender Man, the Japanese Slender Man, whatever. It's a tall woman. Let's go straight into it. This is scary. I've heard this one before.
There's something dangerous abducting children in this area.
Abducting
Hey,
children.
I'm Sapphire. Want to hear something scary?
Hi, Sapphire. Something scary. Go check him out. And she's
You've
still
heard
scared
of the
for me.
Slender Man, but have you heard of the tall, slender woman? This next chapter is a Japanese urban legend called Hachishaku-sama, which means 8 feet tall. My grandparents lived in a small village in Japan. Every summer, my parents would take me there on holiday to visit them. The last time I saw them was the summer when I was 8 years old. My grandparents were inside the house, and I was playing by myself outside in the backyard. I heard a strange sound. I didn't know what it was, and it was hard to figure out where it was coming from.
That's kind of scary.
I was looking around, searching for the source of the noise, when I noticed something on top of the tall hedges that enclosed the backyard. It was a straw hat. It wasn't resting on the hedge, it was behind it.
Oh, Scarecrow.
That's where the sound
Scarecrow.
was coming from. Then the hat began to move. It stopped at a small gap in
Still
the
alive,
hedge, and
Scarecrow.
I could see a face peering through.
That's no.
It was a woman, but the hedges were high, almost 8 feet tall. I was surprised at how tall the woman was. I wondered if she was
No.
wearing stilts or some sort of huge high-heeled shoes. Then, a split second later, she walked off, and the strange noise disappeared with her, fading into the distance. Confused, I got up and ran back into
No. If I was that girl, I'd run inside, tell my grandparents to take me home. And I'll be like, oh no, I'm leaving now. I don't want to go. Flight right now, the next flight, and hopefully it's today. I don't want to mess with that tall girl. I don't want to be kidnapped.
the house. My grandparents were in the kitchen drinking tea. I sat down at the table and told my grandparents what I had seen. They weren't really paying attention to me until I mentioned that distinctive sound. They both froze. Grandma's eyes grew wide and she covered her mouth with her hand. Grandpa's face became very serious and he grabbed me by the arm. "This is very important," he said, very intensely. "How tall was she?" "As tall as the garden hedge." "Where was she standing? When did this happen? What did you do? Did she see you?" I tried to answer all his questions as best as I could. He rushed out to the hallway and made a phone call. I couldn't hear what he was saying, but after he hung up, he walked out the door. "Grandma, what's going on?" "There's something dangerous abducting children in this area."
Why
she
did
said.
you?
"We call it Hachishaku-sama. It takes on the appearance of an extremely tall woman and says, in a deep voice. A long time ago, it was captured by monks and they managed to confine it in a ruined building on the outskirts of the village.
Why would you allow
They trapped it using 4 jizo, small religious statues that they placed at the north, south, east, and
Alright, why would you allow, if there's someone abducting children, if someone was abducting children in my grandma's house, she wouldn't let me come over, my mom wouldn't let me come over. So why did that girl's mom decide to let her child come over when there's someone abducting children? Like, that's pulling at straws. This is, like, scary.
west of the ruins so that it could not escape. But somehow, it did. The last time it appeared was 15 years ago. My grandmother said that anyone who saw it was destined to die within a few days. It all sounded so crazy. I wasn't sure what to believe. Just then, my grandpa came back, but with an old woman who called herself Keisan. They took me upstairs to my bedroom and began covering the windows with newspaper, with ancient runes written all over them. Keisan placed small bowls of salt in all 4 corners of the room and a small Buddha figure in the center.
Soon the sun will be setting, so listen carefully. You must stay in this room until 7:30 tomorrow morning. Do not open this door for any reason,
She placed a bucket in my hands.
not even to use the restroom.
My grandparents and Keisan left the room, and I locked the door after them. I couldn't believe what was happening. Was I really going to die in a few days?
Probably.
I turned on the TV to try to take my mind off everything, and eventually fell asleep.
Good.
I was awakened around 1 a.m. by a tapping sound on the window. "It's probably just a tree or something," I told myself.
That ain't sound like no tree.
Then came a knock on the door, and I
Don't.
heard my grandpa's voice.
Are you okay in there? If you're scared, I can come keep you company.
No.
Hearing
Remember
his
what the
voice
woman
was
said?
such a relief that without thinking, I rushed over to the door. But something didn't feel right. I looked at the bowls of salt in the room. All 4 of them had turned black. and then I heard the sound again. The tapping on the window continued. I knelt in front of the Buddha and began to pray. I was so terrified and caught up in my chanting that I didn't realize the sounds had stopped. I checked my watch. It was 7:30 a.m. Carefully, I opened the door and ran to my grandparents. We all got in a van and headed straight for the airport. Apparently, there were others who had escaped the grasp of Hachisaku-sama as long as they never stepped foot in Japan again. So 2 years ago, when my grandpa got sick, he refused to let me visit him. He even left strict instructions in his will to not let me attend his funeral. I couldn't believe that this creature prevented me from saying goodbye to him. So when my grandma called a few days ago to tell me she had been diagnosed with cancer, I wasn't going to let her stop me from visiting. It's been 10 years, Grandma, and nothing has happened to me. We don't even know if this thing is real. I'm not going to let it stop me from seeing you. If you say so, dear. I love you, Grandma. I'll see you soon.
No,
Like this video
stop it,
if
stop.
It gave you the chills. And don't forget to subscribe to Snarled.
Alright, so, guys, that was, Hachisaku-sama. That's how you pronounce it. That's how I pronounce it, at least. Hachisaku-sama. So, that was 3 horror stories that terrify me. Now I'm gonna have nightmares for the next year. But for real, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you want me to make this entire series, comment down below. If I can get 10 likes on this video, if I can get 10 likes on this video, I will make a series of this. So, let's go, let's end it. So, let's go to full video. Alright guys, so that will conclude the video. So the title, 3 horror stories that will give me nightmares. I hope you enjoyed. Please like and subscribe. Comment down below what you'd like me to do next. And remember, 10 likes, and I'll make a series of this. It's hard to find scary stories too, because all the good ones are not appropriate for YouTube. So, see you next time. Goodbye!